Bring the head clamp. We'll give this thief's bald head a taste of the clamp before we flog him." Terribly flustered, Pilgrim thought to himself, "Though my master is fated to meet this ordeal, he should not be allowed to suffer too much." When he saw, therefore, that the bailiffs were preparing the ropes to make the head clamp, he said, "Your Excellency, please don't clamp that monk. During the robbery of the Cohom last night, it was I who held the light and the knife, and it was I who robbed and murdered. I'm the chieftain of the thieves. If you want flogging, flog me. They have nothing to do with this. Just don't release me." On hearing this, the magistrate gave the order, "Let's clamp the head of this one first." Together the bailiffs looped the head clamp onto Pilgrim. When they suddenly tightened the rope, it snapped with a loud crack. They joined the rope and clamped again, and once more it snapped with a loud crack. After 3 or 4 times of clamping like this, the skin on Pilgrim's head did not even show a wrinkle. When they wanted to change ropes and make another clamp, someone came in to report, "Venerable Father, Father Junior Guardian Chen from the capital has arrived. Please go out of the city to meet him." The magistrate immediately gave this order to the clerk of justice. "Take the thieves into the jail and guard them carefully. Wait until I have received my superior. We'll interrogate them some more." The clerk pushed the Tang monk and his 3 disciples into the jailhouse. 8 rules and Sha monk, however, had to carry their own luggage in. "Disciples," said Tripitaka, "how did this thing come to be?" "Master, get in." "Get in," said Pilgrim, laughing. "There are no dogs barking here. It's rather good fun." Alas! The 4 of them were taken inside and they were all pushed onto the rack. Then belly compressors, head prongs, and chest straps were fastened to each of them. The prison guards then arrived and began a severe flogging. Hardly able to endure the pain, Tripitaka could only cry, "Wukong, what shall we do? What shall we do?" Pilgrim said, "They want to beat some money out of us. As the saying goes, settle down if you a nice place find. Spend money when you're in a bind. They'll probably ease up on us if we give them some money." "Where do I have any money?" asked Tripitaka. "If we have no money," said Pilgrim, "even clothing is all right. Give him that cassock of yours." On hearing this, Tripitaka felt as if a dagger had stabbed his heart. Since, however, he could not endure the flogging any longer, he had little choice but to say, "Wukong, do as you wish." Immediately Pilgrim cried out, "Officers, no need for you to beat us anymore. Inside of one of those 2 wraps we carried in, there is a brocade cassock worth 1,000 gold. Untie the wrap and take it. Please leave us." When those prison guards heard this, they all went to untie the 2 wraps. There were indeed several cloth garments and a satchel, which were of no value at all. Then they came upon an object wrapped in several layers of oiled paper, with shafts of luminous radiance coming through. They knew it had to be a good thing. When they shook it loose to examine it, they saw a garment of bright, wonderful pearl appliques, sequins of rare Buddhist treasures, with coiled dragon knots of brocade, and silk pipings of phoenix made. As they fought to have a look at such a marvel, they disturbed the prison warden, who came to say, "Why are you all making such noises here?" Going to their knees, the guards said, "Just now the old sire indicted these 4 priests, who all belonged to a large group of bandits. When we gave them a little flogging, they offered us these 2 wraps. We found this object after we untied the wraps, and we didn't know what to do with it. To tear up the robe and divide it would be a great pity, but if only one of us owned it, the others would receive no benefit. Fortunately, the old sire has come along. We'll leave it up to you to decide for us." The warden recognized that it was a cassock. He then examined the other items of clothing and the satchel. Next, he unfolded the travel rescript to have a look. When he saw the signatures and treasure seals of various nations, he said, "I'm glad I saw this in time. Otherwise you people might have brought a terrible disaster on yourselves. These monks are no bandits. Don't you dare touch their clothing. Wait till the Grand Sire interrogates them tomorrow, and we'll probably learn the real truth." When the guards heard this, they handed the wraps over to him. The warden tied them up as before and put them away for safekeeping. Gradually the night deepened. The drum roll began on the towers as the night patrol shouted the watches. By about the third quarter of the fourth watch, Pilgrim saw that his companions had stopped moaning and had all fallen asleep. He thought to himself, "It was fated that Master should have this one night of prison ordeal. That's the reason why Old Monkey did not bother to dispute the judge or use magic power. Now that the fourth watch is almost over and the calamity is nearly completed, I must leave to make some plans so that we can get out of prison in the morning." Look at the way he exercises his abilities. Reducing the size of his body, he at once got out of the rack and, with one shake, changed into a midge to fly out through a crack between the roof tiles. It was a fair and quiet night of stars and a bright moon in the sky. Having determined the direction of the Ko house, he flew toward it. Soon he saw the bright flares of light coming from a house to the west. When he flew near it to look more closely, he discovered that it belonged to a family of bin curd makers. An old man was tending fire, while his aged wife was squeezing out the soybean milk. Presently he heard the old man say, "Mother, Mr. Ko might have sons and wealth, but he had no age. He was, you know, a schoolmate of mine when we were young. I am 5 years his senior." His father's name was Ko Ming, and at that time, they had no more than 1,000 acres of farmland, which they had leased out, but they couldn't even collect the proper rental. By the time the son was 20 years old, the father died and it was up to him to manage their property. It was a stroke of luck that he took for his wife the daughter of Jiang Wang, Prosperity. Her nickname was Needle Pusher, but she certainly brought prosperity to her husband. Since her entrance into his family, their lands yielded rich harvests and their rentals excellent returns. What they bought accrued value and what they sold made profits. Their assets by now must be worth 100,000 cash. When he reached his 40th year, he began to devote himself to good deeds and managed to feed 10,000 monks. Who would have thought that he would be kicked to death by bandits last night? How pitiable. He was only 64 years old and had reached just the right age to enjoy himself. Who would expect a person of such virtuous inclination to be rewarded by such a violent death? It's most lamentable. Most lamentable. Every word of this statement was heard by Pilgrim. By then, it was the first quarter of the fifth watch, and Pilgrim flew right into the house of the Ko family. The squire's coffin had been placed in the main hall, so that the family could hold a wake over the dead man. Lamps were lit at the head of the coffin, flowers and fruit arranged around it. On one side, his weeping wife kept vigil, and his 2 sons also were kneeling there and weeping. 2 of his daughters-in-law were bringing in 2 bowls of rice for offering. Pilgrim landed on the head of the coffin and gave a cough. The 2 daughters-in-law were so terrified that they ran outside, their arms and legs flailing the air. Prostrating themselves on the floor, the Ko brothers dared not move at all. All they could mutter was, "Father. L-O-O-O-O-O. L-O-O-O-O." The old woman, however, was courageous enough to give the head of the coffin a tap and said, "Old squire, have you come back to life?" Imitating the voice of the squire, Pilgrim replied, "No, I haven't." More frightened than ever, the 2 sons continued to kowtow and shed tears. All they could mutter was, "Father. L-O-O-O. L-O-O-O." Forcing herself to be bold, the woman asked again, "Squire, if you haven't come back to life, why are you speaking?" "I have been sent back by King Yama in the custody of a ghost guardian," said Pilgrim, "so that I can speak to all of you. I am supposed to tell you that Needle Pusher Jiang has used her foul mouth and slanderous tongue to injure the innocent." When the old woman heard her own nickname, she became so flustered that she fell to her knees and kowtowed, saying, Dear old man. You're so old already, and you still want to address me by my nickname. What do you mean by my foul mouth and slanderous tongue? Which innocent person have I injured? Pilgrim bellowed. Didn't you say something like this? 8 rules cried for slaughter. The Tang monk held the fire. Sha monk removed our silver and gold, while Pilgrim's son beat to death our sire. Because of your slanderous words, good people have been made to suffer. Those 4 masters of the Tang court, when they ran into the brigands on the road, took back our stolen property. They wanted to return that to us as a token of their gratitude. What an expression of goodwill! You, however, drew up this specious plaint and asked your sons to file it with the official. Without carefully examining the case either, he sent them to prison. Now the god of the jailhouse, the local spirit, and the city deity are all so overwrought that they have reported the matter to King Yama. He in turn sent his ghost guardian to take me back home to tell you this, that you should work for the monk's release at once. Otherwise, I have been authorized to cause trouble for a solid month here in the house. The entire household, old and young, including chickens and dogs, will not be spared. Again kowtowing, the Ko brothers pleaded with him, saying, Daddy, please go back.